I just want to read the statements from Shane Pinto and from the league and from the Sens if you haven't heard. Of course, Shane Pinto today was announced that he's going to serve a 41-game suspension. It is the longest suspension ever handed out in league history for sports betting. So today, the National Hockey League announced that it suspended NHL player Shane Pinto for 41 games for activities related to sports wagering. The league's investigation found no evidence that Pinto made any wagers on NHL games. The NHL considers the matter closed, absent the emergence of new information, and will have no further comment. The Sens put out, we were made aware of the National Hockey League investigation into this matter, and additional information was made available to the club upon the completion of the league's investigation yesterday. Shane is a valued member of our hockey club, an engaging, intelligent young man who has made poor decisions that have resulted in a suspension by the National Hockey League. We know he is remorseful for his mistakes. They went on to say they support him and the NHL rules on gambling. They are saddened to learn of the issue. And when the time is right, with the league's blessing, we will welcome him back in the organization and embrace him as one of our own. And then finally, Shane Pinto releasing his own statement. I want to apologize to the National Hockey League, the Ottawa Senators, my teammates, the fans, and the city of Ottawa, and most importantly, my family. I take full responsibility for my actions and look forward to getting back on the ice with my team. Well, that won't be until the earliest would be January 22nd, I believe, and they play at Philadelphia, game number 42. So as we do that, boys, I just want to welcome in our good friend, TSN analyst, longtime NHL player, executive. The guy has done it all. So, and he's a Selke winner. Dave Poulin into the show because he just brings the voice of reason, as we always say. Poulin, nice to see you. Can't hear you. Okay, we'll figure that out and get back to you. Gavin will figure it out somehow. Guys, what's your reaction to what happened today? And the only thing I've learned been told a couple things. And so this is all kind of new coming out. So one of the things I heard is that the NHL is very clear that he didn't wager on games, but what might have been happening is he was providing information. And that's what may have been ultimately what the result was, is that how they found out.
Providing information as in his team's missing a player or something?
Could be anything. Could be on any, because you guys know throughout the National Hockey, you know who's injured, what's going on. It doesn't have to be your own team. I don't know who or how or what information. I don't even know they provided it, but that's what I'm led to believe, is that he provided information to a third party who then made bets.
Well, I wasn't on my bingo card this morning. No. So it's, I don't know. And you've heard statements from both sides, and I think that that's the end of what we hear, and everything else is just going to be speculation. And yeah. I was big because I originally read that he was going to appeal. It does not sound like he will. And for me, like, if I was Shane, I would want to say, look, this is exactly what I did. This is a mistake I made, but I want to make it perfectly clear. I did not wager on games. I would just say I would want that full transparency if I was him. But it doesn't sound like we're going to get that. So I didn't see it coming. I'm still I was thinking about all day, like, what do we say about it? Right.
Well, that's just it, because
decision, it's a poor, and he's just such a young kid. You're like, he made a mistake. He's going to pay for it. And
so first, are they coming us for Bob for all the football pools we've been in and suicide? It's like, I got to do some backtracking here.
I played fantasy hockey with my buddies from Idaho when I was playing. The only rule was that I wasn't allowed to draft myself. So I was like, nobody's drafted me anyway. I'm always hurt.
Yeah. First and foremost, I think people need to understand Shane Pinto's an exceptional young man. I know, Wally, you've dealt with him a lot. Everybody I talk to within this Sens organization can't say enough about this kid. He's a really good, high quality individual. Sounds like just made a poor judgment, and he's gonna sit here, and then that's the good news. He'll be back. But I just want to get that clear. This isn't a bad kid. This isn't a guy that's anything I've heard anything negative about. So
no,
it's unfortunate, man. It's just really unfortunate. I was really hopeful something was going to get done here soon. You get him back in the lineup. So at least now there seems to be some clarification. Yeah, he'll be back and whatever.
Well,
the clock started. I guess that's what we've heard. Have we confirmed that
it goes to game 1 of this season. So while he doesn't have to pay a monetary penalty, if you will, because he doesn't have a contract, he's still missing half a contract because when he signs, it'll be prorated back to when he'll sign at some point.
Okay.
The other rumor is December 1st because he's we can bring in Dave Poulin, by the way, Gavin, if he's ready. The other thing is because he's an RFA December 1st, that doesn't play into this. It just now becomes the contract and the suspension of January 20th. Poulin, hi.
Gentlemen.
Hey, Poulin.
Anything going on in Ottawa? Is there anything happening in Ottawa?
No, it's a nice day out. I walk the dog.
Nothing to see here.
Wow.
So
that's what everybody. When I see something like this, I look at the lawyers, right, and the way they worded it. Activities relating to sports wagering. That's really careful wording.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying that he was betting on hockey. They haven't said that, and they haven't even said it. I think it'll all come out eventually.
Mm-hmm.
And they did say there was no evidence that Pinto wagered on NHL games. So,
right,
41 is a hammer, without a question. But I think he's sort of the first guy, and they're going to hammer the first guy. That there's any indication that anything's happening.
Yeah.
And they just are. It's everywhere around us. It's on all of our shows.
Mm-hmm.
You have everyone involved. You got current players involved. That's something in itself, which is going to change in Canada in February. Right?
Yes.
You're allowed to have current players or former players. But the fact that you had current players involved shows what a revenue source it is for the league and shows how carefully they want to handle it. But they can't tolerate the players' involvement at all.
Which is slightly hypocritical.
It is. It's also the hugest revenue source the NHL has found in how long? Like this is everywhere around it, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, what is the sponsorship on the helmets?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is, but the issue isn't so much, okay, there's everything that's around us. It doesn't mean we have to violate the league rules in order to participate. You know what I'm saying? Like we still have to be accountable for our actions.
No question about it. It's funny. I'm not a gambler. And when people ask me about betting on sport or betting on, across whatever sport, and hockey's hard to bet on all that. And I laugh. I played for really good teams. Like I was blessed. And a lot of nights I say to people, I would walk into my own locker room and look around and say, there's no way I'm betting on these guys. They're really good teams. It was just, you'd go into some buildings and be strange nights and everything else. And holy smokes, way too many variables.
Yeah.
But this one's something that clearly the league, this is a major statement. And you can appeal it, but you're appealing to the guy who made the judgment. And so the appeal goes back to the commissioner of the league who settled at 41 games.
Well, and it sounds like and Pinto's apparently said he's not appealing it. And if that's he knows he's caught, he knows the evidence is overwhelming. Right. And so this is I'm sorry, I understand, and I will take my punishment and go. And that's what I like. This is whatever it is a pretty egregious error, I believe, on his part.
It is. It's being the point man for your buddies is essentially what it is. Is he the only one who has a job?
Yep.
Like are they all still in college, or is he the only one with money? He's the one with the most money. We know that.
Yep.
This is his college buddies or his high school buddies or whoever's involved here. And I think it's more than just him, I would say. I mean, you walk into NHL locker rooms, everybody's got an NFL pool. Everybody's got goals and games going on, and that it's huge.
Bobby ran it.
I did. I ran all of our pools, football, basketball.
And you were a popular guy because of it. I mean, it was, and it's they talk about team bonding and all those things. It's all a part of it.
It is.
I remember playoff draft pools where we would draft teams, and it would be like a 4-hour extravaganza beside the pool in LA.
Yep. You're wagering on. I mean, you're doing an auction style draft, and guys are throwing $5,000 down on teams, and
Wait, Poulin and Bobby, I played with a guy. I won't say his name, and if we had a game on a Sunday afternoon, This guy was a mess because he had so much action on NFL games. He'd go in between periods. What's the score in this game? What's the score in that game?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've seen, we played religiously in Anaheim on Sundays at 5:00. And every time we had a pregame skate, guys would lose their minds because it meant that they couldn't start the 10 a.m. games by watching. We had the pregame skate. So I think we've all seen a couple players like that.
A couple of things, and Poulin, I want to get to talking about the Sens, and this wasn't part of our discussion when we originally lined you up, and I don't want to take your time on it too much. One of the things people are saying is that this was all part of the plan. The Tarasenko and all those signings were well before this. I believe this really heated up 2 weeks ago, if you will. Remember Shane Pinto came to town?
Yes.
And he abruptly left, and he was supposed to skate the next day, but he was gone after the Monday, I think it was.
Yeah.
And then all that trade rumor stuff about Philadelphia and whatever just went silent. And that's when it all started to come together. So he was still under cap hell well before this investigation started.
Yes.
So that's the only thing I want to talk about. People are all saying, well, this was part of the plan. This was
not a chance
at all part of the plan.
Not a chance.